God, if you're real, let me know somehow. And I looked up and saw these clouds that looked like hands, and they were illuminated. I just started sobbing. And for the first time in my life, I felt loved. In the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, I experienced love.
Hi guys, so I just want to let you know that I have a very amazing guest today. I have my spiritual mentor. I've known this lady for 10 years. She's made such a significant impact on my life, and I know she won't take any credit, but I would like to have her on so you guys can experience her beautiful spirit the way that I get to. So, hi, Carol. Hi, Carol. How are you today? Could you introduce yourself?
I can introduce myself, but first of all, a couple of things. I'm a crybaby, and so I'll probably cry off and on. I'll try to maintain some control, but I'll probably cry off and on. And I want to thank you for loving me so much, and for having so much faith and confidence in me that you would trust me. And thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you.
So, my name is Carol.
Sorry, big hug.
My name is Carol, and I'm a hillbilly. You can probably hear a little bit of hillbilly twang in my voice. And I was born and raised in the hills of Missouri, and close to the Arkansas line. I left that area when I was about 15, and I traveled all over from one side of the United States to the other side of the United States until here I am, settled down. And I've been here for about 15 years now.
Beautiful.
And that's good. So.
And I see a lot of the guests already saying hi, Carol.
Hi.
She's such an amazing woman. So
I'm new to this. I can't tell what I'm doing, and I can't see very well because I have tears in my eyes. So I'm going to trust Erica to tell me that you're saying hi and all that, and that you're hearing me back.
You're so sweet. All right. So, Carol, can you tell us a little bit about your history, like what you used to do for work, a little bit about what you do now for...
All of my life, I've known that I had the ability to create something out of nothing. It's just something that's natural to me. But for a long time, I was a printer. For a long time, for about 8 years, I was a counselor in the field of addictions. And then I changed my career because I got very burned out because I gave so much of myself, I didn't have anything left. And for the last, since 1984, I have been a publications designer, or was a publications designer, and was still working as a publications designer before I retired. I'm now retired, and I've been retired since since 2021, since 2000, I don't remember if it was 20 or 21. But anyhow, I am retired, and my schedule on a daily basis is I usually get up and study my Bible. Unless I have appointments early in the morning, I pray and I meditate, and then I write a blog, and I putz around the house, and my husband and I study the Bible together, and I like to sit out in my yard or sit here at my table and look out into my yard, into my flame. That's kind of what I do today.
Thank you. And can you share a little bit more, tell us a little bit more about your blog and how that all got, like, what do you share on your blog? Like, if somebody was to go there and read, what would they expect to see?
They would expect to see something about God. I love God with all of my heart. My concept of God may be different than yours, or one of yours out there. Your concept is probably different from mine, but I personally believe we serve one God, and I love God with all my heart. God changed me from what I used to be to what I am today, and today I'm nothing at all like what I used to be. The blog would be like things like God is awesome, God is great, God is knowable, God is strength, God is loving, God is kind, just all things that I've experienced about God. In the last 41 years, I didn't come to know God until 1981 or 1982. I'm sorry, and but once I came to know God, He changed me from the inside out. And so my blog is Carol's Corral, CHORALE, CAROLCHORALE.com. And I write a blog once a week, and that came about as a result of me starting to pray when I retired. And I was a publications designer, and I have such creative energy flowing all the time. And I needed something more than to just sit at the house or clean house and cook, something I'm not very fond of anyway. So I needed something more, and I began praying and asking God what He wanted me to do. And I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And it felt like it took forever for God to finally answer my prayer. I had Miss Erica, who wanted me to write a book and has been wanting me to write a book for a long time. And I kept saying, no, no, no. And so I was doing some research on the internet one day, and I was looking at someone else's blog, and it had never hit me that I could write a blog myself, although I'm a fair writer. But all of a sudden, it just kind of hit me upside the head, And, oh, okay, God, I get it. All right, I can write a blog. And so that's what I felt like that was a calling that God gave me, just like He gave me a calling to be a mentor to other women who had had some similar experiences that I had had, that God had healed me, and if He could heal me, He could heal them. And so my blog is about someone reading what I've written and getting to know God from my perspective, and hopefully them being able to share that perspective and want to know Him more. Like I had people early in my recovery journey that helped me to know God, and I needed that because my thinking about God was way off, and so I needed people to help me, and that's what I'm hoping this blog will do, is help a whole bunch of people out there.
Beautiful. And if you guys, if you look, you can see on my bio in my link tree, if you want a sample or a taste of her beautiful writing, I do have her on there. It's in the first link. It's Carol's Corral. And I really think that you would really find it enjoyable. Also, I will speak from experience. This is the lady that helps walk me through my journey with finding my higher power, where I've shared with you guys before I felt completely lost before, a very sad and sick soul, and so just to have somebody like that, it was just so fitting the day that she said, hey, like, I'm writing this blog, and hopefully, it reaches people, so then they find their higher power too and have that relationship. I think sometimes we fear that relationship, and she has a very, very gentle, strength-based approach about it. So Carol, can you tell us a little bit about what your life looked like before your healing journey?
It's real easy for me to do that. It looked like someone had come into my life and into my home and had blown off a big bomb. And the only sad thing about that is that I was the detonator. I was the cause of the bomb. And I was destroying everything that I loved, primarily my daughter. And my alcoholism had taken me to a point of low, and it was bad. And I was depressed, worse than I had ever been before. And I was being verbally abusive to my daughter. She was basically taking care of herself, and I didn't recognize what I was doing to her. And one day I did. I don't know if any of you guys out there have had 2x4 experiences, but I've had a lot of them. It's kind of like someone takes out a big club and they hit you upside the head, and you say, oh, yeah, I get that. I finally get it. And that's what I mean when I say a 2x4 experience, because I've had a lot of them and they're some of the most meaningful moments in my life. So I got that I was the detonator to the bomb and that I needed to fix it. And so within 24 hours, I called and got help. And 41 plus years later, here I am.
Yes, yes. And I think there's a lot of people that I'm sure can relate to that is, feeling that hopelessness and that ability to just, hey, like this has been a rock bottom for me. What can I do to pull myself out? What did you do? Like, what do you think was the most impactful where you were just like, okay, like I need to make a change. Like I can't live like this anymore.
It was right before that 2x4 moment, I realized what I was doing to my daughter, and I'm very ashamed of this, but I have to tell people because I know there's other people out there who may have experienced this themselves, but I was sitting in a chair wanting to die more than anything in the world. My daughter was 10, and she was the sweetest little thing and loved me like nobody's business. And I was telling her as she got herself ready for school, as she walked out the door with tears in her eyes, probably scared to death, and I told her, I said, honey, if I'm dead when you get home, please call Grandma, and she'll take care of everything. And I don't know how many days I had done that to her. I'm sure several. But all of a sudden, one day, I just got it. And I called and got help. I didn't know I was an alcoholic at the time, so I called Al-Anon. And they got me the help that I needed. They got me, I was still married at the time, and I fortunately had good insurance. And they got me into treatment. And some friends offered to take care of my daughter so that I could go get help. And that's kind of how I got sober.
Beautiful. It's amazing. So what would you say the best part of your healing journey looked like?
I have a picture in my office that it's clouds. It's of clouds, and it looks like hands reaching down out of the sky. And I had been not drinking for about 8 or 9 months, and I was still as unhappy as happy could be because I was still trying to find happiness in a man. And I had gone out on a sailboat into the middle of the Gulf of Mexico with a couple of guys and another gal and myself. And she got the guy I wanted, and it made me mad. So I went up to the front of the sailboat and started to pout. And something happened to me while I was up there. I just all of a sudden started praying and crying and praying and crying. And I remember saying, God, if you're real, let me know somehow, because I can't go on like this. I was going to attempt suicide again, which I had done numerous times and failed. And all of a sudden, I heard this voice in my head that said, just reach out, Carol, I'm here, just reach out. And I looked up and saw these clouds that looked like hands. And they were illuminated. And I just started sobbing. And for the first time in my life, I felt loved. I'd grown up in a family that was less than pleasant. And I had never felt or experienced what I called love, and that's what I was always looking for, was love. And I looked for it in all the wrong places, in all the wrong people, and I know that's a cliche, but that's what I did. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, I experienced love. I knew that I was loved just like I was, that I didn't have to clean up my act, because it had been a mess, but I didn't have to clean up my act. I was loved and accepted just like I was. And I remember asking for forgiveness for all of the things that I believed I had done that was wrong, and that was a lot. And I asked God to change me. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was already changing. And I started smiling. And then I started laughing. And the next day, my face was sore because I couldn't quit smiling, and I couldn't quit giggling and chuckling to myself because this was such a new experience to me. And I thought, wow, surely this is not God. But indeed it was God. And he's been changing me ever since. And he's not done with me yet, I'm sure. I still got some changing to do. Maybe just about this much. And that's been the most meaningful moment in my life. I refer to it a lot because that's where I changed.
Yeah.
Because that's where I met God.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's incredible. What would you say, like, how would you say that you turn to God now? Like, can you, I know you practice and you on a daily basis, but is there times that are significant in your life still where you really feel like you lean into your relationship with God more than...
Like right now, I'm praying like crazy that God helps me get through this without bawling like a baby. And hopefully saying something meaningful to someone, that someone will get something from what I'm saying. I pray. I start my day off every morning with prayers. Sometimes my prayer's angry because I've been struggling for the last 18 months with chronic pain. And some days I have not so much pain, but other days my pain level is high, and I feel like I've been giving childbirth for the last 18 months. And it's sometimes very painful. So I have to turn to God every day, oftentimes throughout the day, just to get through it sometimes. My most meaningful moments, though, are whenever I go into my office and shut my door, and I pray that God allows me to experience His presence. And I just kind of close my eyes and begin thanking Him for all of the things that He's done in my life, for putting people like you in my life, for giving me this opportunity to share today, for giving me the opportunity to mentor other women. I have an amazing husband. He thinks I'm amazing, and I think that's a blessing because he gets to see the real me sometimes. So much of the time we put on makeup, and the picture that we present to other people is, oh, I'm good and you're good and everything is good. And in my life, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's, I'm cranky. He loves me anyway, and he just thinks I'm amazing. And I think he's amazing too. It's especially meaningful when we pray together and share what we learn from our different studies and the different research that we have together when we study about God. And another thing that I'm really, really grateful for is that my daughter has forgiven me. You might have heard that noise on the phone a while ago. That was my daughter, and I turned her off. Sometimes I have to do that. We don't always see eye to eye, but she has forgiven me, and she loves me so much, and I love her so much. And she tells me today how much she loves me, and how she's seen the changes in me, and how she's so glad that she's my daughter. And those are really meaningful things to me. I have, if you go into my office, I have cards hanging up all over that she sent to me, and I have cards in my bathroom hanging up in our guest bathroom where we don't use. So on my shower wall, I have cards all over the place because those things are meaningful to me. Family and friends.
Yeah. I have.
Did I answer your question, or did I just go off on a tangent?
Beautifully. No, another thought had come through my mind. If somebody was struggling, like I know with like everything, there's lots of like men's work and stuff like that, but how would you share with somebody if they were feeling lost with their connection with a higher power, or maybe even just here's a relationship that I feel like has been so damaged and I don't know if I can ever, because I think that we all experience that at some point in our life where we're like, I don't even know if I could fix that relationship or make it better because I've done so much. What would you recommend somebody that might be here listening for them to start off with, like a stepping stone? I'm sorry. That's
okay. If you don't know God, I guess the greatest thing that I would share at this moment is that God is knowable. I was afraid that God was not going to be what I wanted him to be, and I wanted him to be Santa Claus. I wanted him to wave a magic wand and do what I wanted him to do when I wanted him to do it, and that's not who God is. My God loves me beyond anything or anyone else on earth. He loves me. I mean, he loves me. And I don't necessarily believe that God is a he, because I believe God is neither he nor she. God is spirit to me. And so my holy, precious spirit loves me just like I am. And he doesn't condemn me. And so I would, at the beginning of my blog, I have what's called a set-aside prayer, and it goes like, God, I ask that you would help me to set aside everything that I think I know about you and the world and myself for a new idea or a new opinion or an open mind about you and the world and myself. So I guess I would ask, or I would suggest that they start with a set-aside prayer, and you don't have to get rid of your old ideas. Just set them aside, put them over in the corner, and give God an opportunity to open up your mind to who he or she really is. Because my ideas about God were all wrong. They were all wrong. I thought God, and I've written about all of this in my blog, I thought God was mean and judgmental and opinionated. And I learned after self-examination that it was me who was mean, opinionated, and judgmental, and that it was me judging God. And so I had to set aside my judgment. I was extremely judgmental, and sometimes I still am today. I think I know what's best, and I think I know this, and I think I know that, and I really don't. And so I had to stop judging God and just let God show me who he really was. And in order for me to do that, I prayed the set-aside prayer every day for a very long time. And I still pray it sometimes today. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Great. So guys, I want to remind you that I did post a link of Carol's blog in my link tree in my bio. So if you go over there really quick, make sure that you favorite it, take a look at it, favorite it, so then you have it every, what day do you post it?
My blog comes out every Wednesday morning at 4 a.m.
Yes, perfect.
And
so you East Coasters, you'll get that right away.
And I was really surprised that I have people that are from Canada. I have one person from Paris, France, another person from Taiwan, and then people from all over the United States. But it's really not about me. It's about God.
Yeah.
It's not about people following me. It's about people reading about God. And hopefully, maybe one of you might have the same perceptions that I did, and maybe one of you might be willing to let go of those perceptions and choose to have an open mind about God, and then God can come into your life and love you.
Yes.
And that would be awesome.
Definitely. And I've been able to firsthand experience Carol's gentle approach to helping people bridge that relationship to God. We talk about that St. Francis prayer, and this lady is such an amazing, incredible example of what that prayer is. And I know she won't take credit. I see her shaking her head, but she does. She asks God every day to be a channel of, whatever he would like her to be, and she channels that through to help other people. She's such a great example of what true service work is for higher power, and I've been very blessed because I've gotten to be a part of that. So very fortunate. I felt very lost, so I think that the fact that she's creating blogs now and letting a higher power channel through her so then she can bring people closer to him. What an amazing experience and gift for all of us. So if you guys haven't gone to my link tree, please, it's right there in my profile. Make sure that you hop on. It's the very first link. It's Carol's Corral. And please favorite it because she does puts something out, releases something super amazing every single Wednesday at 4 a.m. so you can drink your coffee and be blessed. So after that, I want to ask you, Carol, what would you want somebody to take away from today? Like, what would your message be?
Before I came to know God and before I had the privilege of knowing Erica, I was a mean-spirited lady. I was all about me, and I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it, and God changed me. And so what I would want people to know is that if God can change me, He can change you.
Aww.
If God can love me, He can love you. If God can work through me, He can work through you. All you have to have is a willing, open heart. And He'll do the rest.
Beautiful. That's such a fascinating message, and I've been privileged to hear that message for the past 10 years. And it's so pure, it's so genuine, and extremely authentic. And what a privilege to have that connection, to not feel alone anymore. And yes, this is the lady that taught me every morning, do something to make God proud of you. And I do. Like, I wake up now and I'm like, what can I do to make Him proud of me today? And I wouldn't have those tools if He didn't channel through her. So I feel very, very blessed. Blog saved. Aw, thank you. Awesome. So.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the last question, and then we have time, if you have time, for 3 questions. Is that okay from the viewers?
I'm a very transparent woman, and what you see is what you get, so if you don't want to know something, don't ask me. Because it'll be an honest from my heart answer.
So, yeah, it will be. So Carol, something interesting that people here on TikTok might not know about you, or a hidden talent.
I have a lot of sense of humor. I love to smile. I love to laugh. I'm extremely perceptive, and that's a gift from God, and I'm also extremely creative. But, and you guys would never be able to know this if I didn't tell you, I have learned how to play the harmonica. And I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the harmonica, and I don't have it with me today, and I wouldn't play it even if I did, because I'd have to look at my notes and But anyhow, I played Happy Birthday for Erica, and I also played Mary Had a Little Lamb on the harmonica.
Yes. That's awesome. Beautiful. So is it okay now? And she does an amazing job. She should start a band. So yes, I want to remind you guys one more time. Oh, Ashley, you're so sweet. She said you're such a joy.
I can't see because I got tears in my eyes and I can't see that far away.
So we're gonna leave it now for the viewers to ask a few questions. I have 3, so if you guys want to ask questions, I see one. What is your favorite Bible verse? Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, Psalm. It's be still and know that I am God, because when I was in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, that was the voice that I kept hearing in my head, is Carol, just be still and know that I am God. And it's Psalm 46:10.
Beautiful.
And I have a picture of hands. I have 2 pictures in my office. One is of clouds that look like hands, and the other one is of hands that reach out like this, and it's just a robed, veiled person. And at the bottom, I have that scripture, Psalm 46:10, because I felt like I saw God reaching out to me through the clouds.
What is your favorite color? All right.
Oh, graphic designer, I love color, period. But you can see behind me here that turquoise is on my walls, and I've got a lot of red and pink and turquoise and red and pink and purple and color. There's only one color I don't like, and that's green. And I like it if it's in a grass or something like that, or if it's on a plant. I have green plants in my house, but I don't like, and as long as it's, just like this, a green color, I'm okay with that. But you won't ever see me wearing anything green or having a chair that's green or anything like that. It just doesn't go well with me.
How did you meet? We met at a spiritual event, and she was speaking her story, and I was captivated. I knew that I needed this lady in my life. I knew, and I will say that for anybody that's struggling with anything in your life. Surround yourself with somebody that you like what they have. Like, you like what they have, and because that person is brought to you for a reason. Like, it's not by coincidence. Like, they've been placed in your life for a reason. And for me, this beautiful lady was definitely placed in my life. I was broken, and I'm no longer broken anymore, and I have a beautiful relationship with my higher power, and it's a gift that you don't just get easily, and I was given that. And so but yeah, that's how I met her. I heard her story, and it was almost like a beautiful halo of light just beamed on her, and that music, and it was just like I heard every single word. And at the moment that I met her, I couldn't hear any words from anybody. Like, everything was just foggy and a blur, and for her it was like every word was golden to me. And I saw somebody that she was so humble. She is so humble. And I saw somebody that just wasn't willing to take any credit for who she had become. And I wanted that. I wanted to know all about that. And still I get to meet with her every other Monday, and like, I come to, she's the lady that I call, like, when I need the prayers called in. I'm like, I'll call her, I'll tell her, I'll say, hey, there's something going on, that's devastating in my life, or something good that's going on in my life. And she's like, well, I'll pray for you. And I'm like, well, I know that's why I called you, because and yeah, everybody's saying that's awesome.
What I feel about prayer is, when I pray, I am praying to the most awesome, incredible, undescribable, most understanding, most loving, kind being that ever has been or ever will be. And when I pray, I have the privilege to communicate with that being and feel like, even though I can't see them, even though I don't necessarily always hear them talk to me, I know that I'm communicating with that being. And it's pretty humbling to me to know that most powerful, awesome being is willing to listen to little old me, or big old me. Anyhow, he's willing to listen to me.
The gift of prayer is our greatest blessing from God. Yeah.
Yes, it is. You go, girl.
And I would say that that's a gift that I get to receive from Carol. Oh, hi, Patty. It's just
hi, Patty.
Is that exactly that? Is that not? I learned not to fear God. I also learned that I'm worthy to be loved by God, which I never thought I was. And I wouldn't have found that. Like, if God didn't introduce me to this beautiful lady, and that's really, a gift. And so, and she showed me, which I read in her readings. That's why I really wanted to have her on this, is because the gift that she gave to me, and I know that we have so many people that are searching for that same relationship, that same, clarity, and when you read her readings, that's exactly what I got exposed to, and that's what I think is beautiful, and that's why I really feel blessed that she was willing to come on today.
I personally believe that every person in the world, even the Jeffrey Dahmers, have spiritual worth to God. I may not be able to see their spiritual worth, and I may not know what their spiritual worth is, but I don't have to. God knows what it is, and God believes that every person has spiritual worth to him, And that doesn't come from me. That came from my former pastor. I was sitting in church one day, and he said, and that may be on one of my blogs coming up real soon. I was sitting in church, and he said that all people have spiritual worth to God. And while I may be blinded to that spiritual worth, it's between God and them, not me and them. And that was life-changing for me whenever I heard that, because as I said earlier, I can be quite judgmental, and I used to judge people for what I saw out here, not realizing that on the inside, you know, we're created beings, we're human beings, and we don't often take off our masks and let people see our hearts. And so, but God gets to see it all the time.
Exactly. Beautiful. And then I have one last, and that's only because, thank you, Macy.
I can't see what
Mary.
she's saying.
She
Both
said
of
you
us are
awesome.
There's also a blog about being awesome, too.
Yes.
The very first blog is about God is awesome. And you can go read it and find out what I say about awesome.
Yeah. And then it's when we realize it's between them and God, we want grace, then we need to give it to others. Exactly.
Yes.
And there's only one judge. We're not the judge. So
Exactly.
You're so right, Christy. I want to ask too, what about people that I'm not doing Reiki right at this moment. I will be doing that later today. What about people that aren't necessarily comfortable with going to church? Do they have to go to church to have a relationship with God?
Absolutely not.
All right, there we go.
Absolutely not. I don't go to church often either. My husband is a churchgoer, and I have gone to church with him often because I wanted to be with him and do what I thought would make him happy. But I don't worship God so much in church. I worship God here right now with you. We've been worshiping God this last hour. And I worship God sitting in my backyard, looking at my flame and looking at my roses. And I talk with my hands, and I'm sorry, I'll put them back down.
My eye out. No, I'm joking.
Don't get sassy with me. Absolutely not. I believe that God is in everything.
Beautiful.
And we can worship him every minute of every day, wherever we are.
Exactly. That's beautiful. Well, is there anything else that you want to share before we hop off today?
I'm not scared now.
Yeah?
And thank you guys. I hope you will tune into my blog, and I hope that something I would say would help you grow closer to God.
Also, you guys can comment on her blog too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. There's a comment area, or
Yes.
you can ask questions, and I'll be happy to answer you. Sometimes it may take me a few minutes or a day or two to get back to you, but if you want to comment about anything, please comment. And I'm willing to listen to those comments and answer if I can.
Beautiful. And I just want to ask you guys, if you guys, I see that Patty, can you guys send green hearts to Patty's 6 weeks of recovery? That's freaking awesome. Good job.
Way to go, girl.
Exactly. The most beautiful thing in life. Let's see. What is your blog called? Her blog is called, do you want to tell them?
It's called Carol's Corrals, CarolsChorale.com.
And you guys can also find that if you go into my profile. I put it on the first link to make it easy. So, yes, please.
I hope to hear from some of you.
Well, I want to thank Carol again for taking the time to share her story with us. And I want to thank you guys for joining in. And yes, please check out that blog. Once more, you can find that in my bio and my link tree. It's the very first link. Every Wednesday, she releases a new beautiful reading that you can read about and form a relationship with a higher power.
And I want to thank Erica for being a part of my life and for being, she's so inspirational to me, and I love you very much. She's also very encouraging, so I know she's very encouraging to you guys too. Thank you guys for listening to me, and I hope to hear from you soon.